The alarming, devastating effects of illegal mining has generated conversations among anti-galamsey campaigners who believe a stiffer punishment would have been more deterrent for offenders. Former Minister of Environment, Professor Frimpong Boateng, convener for Media Coalition Against Galamsey, were among scores of speakers at the Joy News National Dialogue held yesterday. Their call for stiffer punishment comes at the back of the sentencing of Galamsey Queen Aisha Wang.
I believe that the law was changed, and the minimum sentence was supposed to be 15 years. So that's what I know. Thank you.
So it should have been 15 years instead of what we had?
Minimum.
Okay.
One of the points that have to be made is about this lady judge that's handling this case. Right from the onset, considering Aisha Wang as a flight risk. The positions she took and the fact that she was very nationalistic in the doing of her job. You just have to position her against the judge, I think it was One Quest in Takwa, who prosecuted, on whose court they prosecuted some 4 Chinese people. And he, in sentencing these foreigners, sentenced them to the minimum sentence for Ghanaians. You know, just a fine of 2,400 Ghana cedis. And seeing that finally we have got some conviction. My only pain is that apparently when we rearrested Aisha Wang, we still were prosecuting her under the old law. And my question I ask is that when she was rearrested, coming back again, was there, I think that was one of the charges. And then does she not get involved in any mining activity for which then the charges should have been under the current punishment regime? So yes, it's great that we've seen some prosecution of somebody who is not just one of those people we find in the forest reserves, and we've been able to get to the point where we're getting to. And I agree with Nana when he talks about getting to the basis and finding out why this thing is happening. But and again, when Doc talks about the fact that we're going to go into an election next year, and if you look at what has happened, the sinusoidal dances we've been doing, and we are confronted with such grave challenges as a country, but I don't think we are passionate enough. And the Forestry Commission, unfortunately, I don't believe you're doing enough, you know, to really be able to resolve the issues. And not too as well. I think all of us, and even all of us as citizens, but those who are actually being put in power, you know, to be able to deal with
National Association of Small-Scale Miners, in recommending to government to consider a local community reinforcement approach, says instead of the centralized national approach, that will work better. According to the General Secretary of that association, Godwin Ama, the current national approach has failed to yield the needed results, hence the need to involve people in the affected communities. He was speaking at the National Dialogue on Illegal Mining organized by Joy News.
I think that community enforcement approach is going to work. If we want, we shouldn't look at it from the national level, but we should look at it from the base, from the communities. Mining activity or illegal operation takes place in the communities. So if we are able to have what we call the community enforcement approach, where we have selected individuals from the community and the traditional leaders to be part, then Minerals Commission will let them know the small-scale miners or mining companies that have been issued with license to work within their jurisdiction. Anyone who comes there who is not part of that list should not be allowed to work. We did a pilot and realized that it's working. So this is something that we need to upscale it. That one is not waiting for the central government to come. And these communities are linked to the district mining committees. So we work with the district mining committees. Then at the end of the day, we get these things done. When it comes to issue of chemical use, we are working with the University of Mines. We've done a lot of sensitization through the ASM radio school, that is small scale, doing a lot of advocacy, sensitization, and the UMAT came up with what we call the retorts. These retorts, when you have your mercury, you melt them in the retorts, and then you don't do open burning. But it's still not upscaled. The university needs funds to upscale it.
Senior research fellow and lecturer at the Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies at the University of Ghana, Dr. Bob Matthew, indicates that following the failure of the political class in fighting the many citizens' movement, especially the middle class, is needed to push the agenda of fighting the cancer.
We, the people, should take responsibility, and taking responsibility means holding our leaders accountable. You know, we shouldn't just leave them. We have to be there front and center, advocating for changes, making sure that we are naming people and advocating for their arrest and prosecution. If we, the people, are quiet, especially the middle class, if we are quiet, this thing will never stop. Some of this conversation, this dialogue should continue. As somebody said, we need to move it away from just being an English elitist kind of conversation. We need to go down to people, speak in people's language, vernacular language, in local places. It is a way of sensitizing. It's a way of creating awareness. It's a way of breaking down the complexities so people understand. We need to humanize the galamsey problem. It has become a political and economic problem for too long. We need to show the health implications, the water implications, all the things that are surrounding are coming up as impacts should be showcased in local communities, and that is where we can make progress.
On the need to amend the law, the Deputy Attorney General Alfred Choyeboa says he will work with the Lands Commission regarding the allocation of lands. He spoke on PM Express.
Yes, but you may have to get it in. That's why she made this kind of that the law must be amended specifically to cater for that one.
Okay, so in other words, the law must be amended to say if you give your land out to illegal miners, then you are also liable to be prosecuted under the amended act.
Exactly. And now, fortunately for us, we use the landowners. The only problem is that if you have such a law, the owners will not come up to give evidence.
Need somebody to testify against somebody.
So in this particular case, six of them.
Deal, yes, of course, you can always do a plea.
Yes,
yeah,
that's it. So if you have such a law, it's a matter of just bargaining with them, using them as accomplice witnesses to prosecute.
In some respect, it actually help you get people to testify, because if they know you caught them, and you say, I'm going to plea, I mean, do a plea bargaining with you. If you do this, sort of.
I think so. So
that can help you.
Yeah, the judge made that.
Because now you have to convince them. They have to be of good, you know, just love this country to just want to come forward, right? But this one can actually help you to force them to do so.
I agree with you on that.
So is it something that you embrace?
We embrace it.
That you would, are we going to see an amendment to the law because of the judge's suggestion?
We need to discuss it. Ali, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, they are the ministry responsible for all this. So they may also have to look at the law. We need to.
But the AG's department, you are for this. You are for amendment to also make the giving out of land for galamsey.
Exactly. If you give out your land, because now we see cocoa farmers giving out their lands. You tell them they are so bold to come on set and say, yes, that's my cocoa farm. I remember watching the video. Yes, that's my cocoa farm. That's my farm. I sell it, and so what? So we may have to look at that stage and perhaps bring it into our law, so that if you give your land out to anybody to do illegal mining, if it's legal mining, you don't have the kind of right to give land to any apart from the government when it comes to mining. But people do it, and then eventually people go in and do illegal mining.